the SDNcast at Futuretech, I'm here with Johnny. Johnny, for the people who don't know you yet, could you please introduce yourself?
Yes. So hello, my name is indeed Johnny. I'm from Belgium, and I came all the way here to the Netherlands. I am actually a developer, like many of us here at Futuretech. I'm a developer, mostly working architecture and backends, but always .NET, Microsoft, Azure related stuff. I work as a consultant for a consultancy firm. I have my own consultancy firm with 12 colleagues, so small, nice company in Belgium called Involved. And I spend a lot of my free time talking about the stuff that I'm passionate about. So talking about .NET related things, talking about the things that I do, the things that I create, and the things that I talk about, of course.
Yeah, your talks are always very good to go to.
Thank you.
Highly recommended. I think some people will know you here for quantum computing talks, right?
Yeah, so a couple of years ago I've started doing quantum computing talks because I really like that subject. Especially this last year, there's a lot of hype around quantum, so I can also see that I'm doing more and more talks again. But it's just a very fascinating topic, and I really like to talk about it.
Due to one chip, the Majorana chip, you're now getting asked all over the place?
Yeah, exactly. People are asking me, like, is it really happening? Is it true? And I'm just trying to read all of the papers and only understanding a very small part of it. So I need to do some more investigation to really know about what Microsoft actually is doing with that. But hopefully in a couple of weeks or months, I can talk more about that.
They haven't sent you just a good Majorana qubit just to play around with?
No, unfortunately they didn't send me the chip.
Maybe it's still on the way.
Yeah, hopefully.
It could be. But this time at Futuretech you didn't talk about quantum. You talked more about .NET development and how you automated your car charging.
Yes, so I like to play around with all kinds of things. So not only quantum computers, but also, of course, .NET, the thing that I really work on day by day.
Everyone starts with quantum, then goes to .NET.
Obviously. Yeah. Basically, I'm a nerd at my job, and I'm a nerd at home. So when I'm done doing my job, I go home, and I think about what can I create to make my life also a little bit better. So I decided to do a lot of home automation, and instead of using Home Assistant, I decided to do everything from scratch because I wanted to learn a couple of things. I wanted to learn Blazor, for example, because I don't do a lot of front-end work anymore. I mostly do back-end. So I wanted to learn some Blazor, and I decided to create one Blazor application that basically consolidates all of my home automation together, which meant that I needed to look at all the individual apps, like the application for my solar panels, the application for my heating, for my car. All of those things, they all have their own like apps on Android. So I needed to look into those apps, like decrypt the HTTP traffic to see what endpoints that they were calling, so that I could do the same thing. I could basically hijack their data and use that data for my own stuff.
So for most of the things wasn't a nice API you could talk to?
No, unfortunately not. So I remember, like, for my Tesla, they have their like nice API. So when you have an account in Tesla, you can just use their API. You can authenticate against their API, and then you have access to your own car and the data from your own car. But most of the other applications, they just had their like quite fishy API endpoints. In most cases, just a GET. Even if you want to send a command, it's always a GET.
Of course. Yeah.
But well, they work, so I can now use them.
And then getting makes it pretty easy to interface, right? You can do it from any...
You can do it from any kind of device. Doesn't really need a lot of work. You basically call the HTTP GET endpoint, send some like URL parameters with that to do things, and it just works.
What is the hardest problem you had to solve?
Well, especially the getting to know, like, for example, my solar panels, they're from SolarEdge, and SolarEdge has an API available, but their API is quite limited. If you compare their API with their actual mobile application, their mobile application shows a lot more data, a lot more useful data, like live data. Their API is mostly historic data, and I also wanted to have live data. So I opened their application and I tried to, on Android, like listen to the network traffic to see what is going over the wire. But of course, it's HTTPS, it's encrypted. You can't really look into that. So then you need to like start fiddling around with putting a proxy on your local machine. Then you need to configure your Android to use that proxy in your local machine, and you need to have a fake certificate that you can decrypt, trust that fake certificate on Android so that your app actually uses that fake certificate so that you can actually decrypt that data. So that was a lot of fiddling around, but it worked eventually.
So cool. That's so cool. And in the end, that must have been such a eureka moment that it started working.
Exactly. So this is how they get that data, and now I can do too.
And have you infused some AI in it as well?
Yeah, so again, this was purely for myself. Like, I'm never really going to use the AI to use that application because everything is just in one view, but just to learn about large language models and to learn about how to use large language models together with real-time data and basically augment the large language model with real-time data. I decided to do it, to learn about semantic kernels. Like, semantic kernel is the package from Microsoft that you can use to talk to a large language model, and that you can also use to augment it with like real business logic. And that's what I did. So I decided to basically create a couple of plugins that tie into all of the integrations that I wrote. And now I can ask my Copilot like funny questions. Like, I showed a demo today where I'm asking like, please, could you make a joke about the location of my car? And then the large language model would get the real-time data from my car, like where are you located? I live in Populierenlaan, which is, populier is it's a tree, kind of tree. So then it came back with an answer like why is your car in the Populierenlaan? Because it feels quite popular to be there. So it's quite funny that you can use a large language model together with this real-time data and actually create something pretty amazing.
It sounds really amazing, yeah. And you have your own company?
Yes, so it's not fully my company. I started in 2014 as an employee. And then about 4 years ago, the original owner decided he wanted to do something else. So he basically gave it to me. So now I have a small percentage of the company.
That's a good deal, right?
It's fun. I love the people that I work with, and now I can work with them even more tightly.
And are you using things like GitHub Copilot as well in your day-to-day work?
Yes, it's actually only been starting these last couple of months. It's been going on for years already, but I can now see that the developers in my company now they are starting to embrace it. Like, okay, this is really something that can help us. They're not afraid that it's going to take over their jobs, but they can see that it's quite beneficial. To use like the autocomplete feature of Copilot, that is already very handy, but that you can also ask questions to it, and that it can actually help you write your code.
Yeah, the productivity gain is amazing.
Yeah, for me too. I've been using it for more than a year now, and it really helps me.
It's almost only a year because GitHub Copilot was the first Copilot we were introduced to, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That's already years ago.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, it was only writing comments, and it was kind of awkward, but it has progressed a lot. Are they worried about the new features for GitHub Copilot, like agents that does a lot of their work themselves?
That's going to be the ever-ending question. Like, is there something going to take over our jobs? I personally don't really think so. Well, there's a lot of code that we write that's quite basic, and I'm actually happy that a Copilot can help us with that, because I don't want to spend most of my time writing boilerplate code. Yeah. And I think most of my colleagues have the same idea about that. So we are still going to be necessary to do the heavy lifting and the more advanced work. But of course, the Copilots they can help us with that.
For sure, there's someone that hasn't drive this technology. Technology is not going to drive itself, not for now. At least.
Not for now, no.
So.
And hopefully not for a couple of decades.
Any nice techniques, services you're looking forward to in the coming months that are coming at us, that you say, well, I really want to fiddle around with agents some more, or...
Yeah, I want to. I didn't really look into like the multi-agent thing yet, so that is something that I really want to look into, like how you can build like different agents that can basically work together to solve a larger problem instead of a problem that's very specific to one theme. So that is something that I really need to look into.
Yeah, cool. That sounds very promising.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here.
Very happy to be here.
And have an awesome Futuretech.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.